Tower was built for the first 100 years of the French Revolution, 1889. In case of a big storm, the top of the tower could move until 50 centimeters without any problem. The counterweight of the hydraulic system of the lift. It's still working with the water, with the pressure, the water, the power of the water. Since 1899, Romania, brought here in Paris. Eiffel had a big factory just nearby. They produced all the pieces there, all the metallic pieces. There are 18,000 different metallic pieces. They brought them here, and here you have to imagine like a game of Legos. Piece by piece, the pieces were assembled with only rivets. And there's no weldings, for example, only rivets. 2.5 million of rivets. The color of the tower was very important because it was not brown at the beginning. It was red. It was supposed to be a temporary structure, just to stay for the World's Fair exhibition during 6 months. Today, the tower is the most visited monument in the world. It receives more than 7 million of people every year. They didn't know if it was safe or not. They didn't know if it was going to fall down or not. And so a lot of the Parisians in the 19th century didn't want to stand here where we are now because they thought the tower could fall over them heads. A big, red, metallic tower in Paris in the 19th century, and you'll understand why they didn't like it that much. Erika Eiffel, she's not from the Eiffel's family. She took the name Eiffel when she married the tower. All the stairs of the tower, that makes 1,665 steps to climb. So, are we the tower, the names that we have all around the first floor. There are 72 golden names around the first floor. Do you know who are these people? Yeah. It's a bit difficult because they don't have anything to do with the tower. Dumas, yeah, but he's the only one we can recognize today, but he's not the one we think.
Oh, okay.
He's a physicist, this one. He's not the writer. He's not Alexander.
Okay.
And these people, they have nothing to do with the tower. They didn't pay for anything. They didn't build anything in the tower. They're here because Eiffel, the engineer of the tower, wanted to mention them because they're French scientists from the 19th century. And only French. It's not because we don't like the strangers. It's because the tower was made for several reasons, but the main reason is the centennial of the French Revolution. So he wanted to showcase the engineers, the French engineers from the Revolution to the centennial of the French Revolution. That's why it's only French people. But I don't have any reason to give you, to explain you why we don't have any women's in the 72 names. Because, for example, we had Marie Curie, she was very famous at the time. They didn't even think about putting her name there because they were a bit macho in the 19th century. Here, I don't know, shout that much. touch, a little bit closer. All right, so I like this point of view. Bring my grip here. Gustave Eiffel. Gustave Eiffel was a French engineer from Dijon. Do you know the Dijon mustard? Same seed. And he was an expert in massive metallic structures. Like here, he built a lot of things. Even here in France, we only know Eiffel for the tower. But actually, it's pretty sad because he made a lot of things. Mostly bridges, but not only. But a lot of bridges everywhere. In Germany, in Spain, in Portugal, in Latin America, he made a lot. And in New York also. We have some New Yorkers here. Some Americans, yes?
Yes.
So what did Eiffel build?
Statue of Liberty.
Yes, how do you know that? You read it before coming? You did your homeworks? All right. Yes, Gustave Eiffel. No, but it's funny because almost nobody knows that he also made the Statue of Liberty, but it's not nothing, you know. He made all the skeletons of the statue, of the diameter, how do you say that? The structure, the metallic structure that holds the statue, the skeleton. Yeah, we can see. And even here in France, nobody knows. It's only famous for the tower. Not that. All right, so I told you the tower was built for the first 100 years of the French Revolution, 1889. But we have another event that happened also in 1889. We had a big exhibition. It's called the World's Fair exhibition. The World's Fair exhibition is an international exhibition that takes place every time in a different country. And it's made like to showcase the achievements of the different nations, like the technological or the architectural achievements of the nations. In the 19th century, it was a very popular event. It was very important for the countries to have the World Fair to show off a little bit. It's very important for us to show off. So it was very important. For these two events, of course, they wanted to do something big. And that's why somehow they choose this project. Because for the World's Fair, you built a lot of things. For example, here on the Champ de Mars, on the garden at the feet of the tower, there were a lot of different attractions. Like for a metal more flexible. They had to calculate how it would react to all the natural elements because it was the first very high building in the world. So to the wind, to the rain, to the heat, etc., etc. And they have calculated that if the tower was made out of iron, the top of the tower could move more than if it was made out of steel. They have calculated that in case of a big storm, the top of the tower could move until 50 centimeters without any problem. We've never seen it. Don't worry guys, you're not going to move 50 centimeters today. The biggest movement we've seen on the top of the tower is 7. It's not that much. But if you are on a 130 years old building, 300 meters high, moving 7 centimeters to 7 centimeters, you feel like you're going to die. It happened to me once. I really felt like I was going to die. So that's why normally when it's too windy, they close the top. Because they don't want you to feel that. All right. Because of the iron, it moves. It also grows with the heat. Because the iron expands itself when it's warm in Paris in July and August. We win 15 centimeters of height on the tower. And when it's cold, like almost like now, it shrinks. And so we lose the same 15 centimeters. And that's why we call it the living tower. Because it moves, because it grows. And as you can see, there are some people who work here every single day when they are not on strike. To check the rivet, to check the metallic pieces because it's old and because we need to renovate it all the time. All right, but it's Romania. Brought here in Paris. Eiffel had a big factory just nearby. They produced all the pieces there, all the metallic pieces. There are 18,000 different metallic pieces. They brought them here. And here you have to imagine like a game of Legos. Piece by piece. The pieces were assembled with only rivets. And there's no weldings, for example. Only rivets. 2.5 million of rivets. And there are rivets for a reason, because the tower, as all the other attractions of the World Fair, should have been dismantled after 6 months. Did you know that? No? It was supposed to be a temporary structure, just to stay for the World Fair exhibition during 6 months. And then they had to dismantle it. It was like to show that it was possible to make a 300 meters tower. But then, normally they should have dismantled it and we shouldn't have heard about the Eiffel Tower anymore. It would have been sad, huh? There's a reason why they choose to keep it a little more than 6 months. It's 130 years old now since a month. The reason is the cost, the price of the construction. If we convert it, what they had to pay for the construction in 1889 in today's currency, it would be 43 million euros. It's not that much. Today, for a construction, for example, to rebuild Notre Dame, do you know how much money they gave? 700 millions. 700 millions of euros. So 43 million, today it doesn't seem to be a big cost, but in the 19th century it was a lot of money. And the government at the beginning, it was so much that they didn't want to pay for the tower. They said to Eiffel, it's a very nice project, very ambitious. We won't pay for it, it's too expensive. So Eiffel said, okay, you don't want to pay? I have a lot of money. I made a lot of things with my company. I can give you 80% of the price of the construction. 36 million euros that I give you if you accept to keep the tower for at least 20 years. And if you accept how to say that, to make me the owner of the tower during 20 years. And I'm gonna sell enough tickets to get my investment back. He was clever, Eiffel. He knew that in 20 years he was gonna sell enough tickets to get his 36 million euros back. He didn't need the 20 years.
2 years.
It took him 6 months.
6 months?
It took him 6 months to get those 36 million euros back. And it's been a good business, we can say that, because he made a contract for 20 years. So even if he got his 36 million euros back in 6 months, during the rest of the time, he made benefits during 19 and a half years more. So it's been a very good business, right, Paul? I told you he was a businessman. And after 20 years, they still wanted to dismantle the tower. It's difficult to imagine, huh? Today, the tower is the most visited monument in the world. It receives more than 7 million of people every year. But even after 20 years, they still wanted to dismantle it because they didn't like it. It's crazy, huh? But actually, when I say they didn't like it, I do mean it. They used to hate it. In the 19th century, they used to call it the atrocity of Paris. There are several reasons for that. First reason, it was the first very high building in the world. And the people were not used to see very high buildings. And as these kind of things had never been achieved before, they didn't know if it was safe or not. They didn't know if it was going to fall down or not. And so a lot of the Parisians in the 19th century didn't want to stand here where we are now because they thought the tower could fall over their heads. Really, huh? I'm not joking at all. Second reason is the architecture itself. The architecture, it looks old now, but in the 19th century it was like very, very modern. And compared to the architecture that you have around in Paris, which is very traditional, very organized, symmetric, everything is at the same height, and all to have this metallic structure in the middle was special for the people at the time. But anyway, in Paris, it's always the same thing. When you build something modern and something old, nobody likes it. The glass pyramid of the Louvre, it was even worse. The glass pyramid of the Louvre, they had to make a simulation with ropes to show the shape that would have the pyramid for the people to accept it. All right? And there are still some people who don't like it, huh? The glass pyramid. The tower now, it's okay. So it was very, very modern. And also, the color of the tower was very important because it was not brown at the beginning. It was red. Yes. So imagine a big, red, metallic tower in Paris in the 19th century, and you'll understand why they didn't like it that much. So the people didn't like it, but also the government said that the tower was nice for tourism, to observe the monument, but that unless that it was useless. And so Eiffel said, okay, I'm gonna give a use for this tower, and with that they will decide to keep it. And he was right. So he put something on the top of the tower. What is that? Sorry? No, it's not an apartment, it's an office. At the top, because he placed an antenna, a radio antenna, which was the first high-frequency radio antenna in the world. And so with this antenna, that's why we have an office there. They could study meteorology, communications, and it was also very important in the 19th century for the wars to have something to intercept messages, to intercept enemies' messages, to send messages to the Allies, for example, also could be very useful. And the government realized that, and they decided to keep the tower for this reason, mainly for this reason. And also because Eiffel once again paid a little bit, for example, the journalists, in order that they talk well about the Eiffel Tower. In the end, it's not that bad. We called the atrocity before. No. It was like that, Eiffel. I told you he was a businessman. As an engineer, he was sometimes a bit vicious. But we can say that in the end, he was also a visionary, because if he didn't do those bad things, the tower would not be here anymore. And I don't know what's your opinion, but I wouldn't see Paris without the Eiffel Tower. It would be a bit special. And since that we decided to keep the tower, a lot of things happened here. Some weird, some nice, some bad stories. For example, people trying new ways of parachuting, more or less successful. Have you heard about the Birdman, maybe? Yeah? The first guy to try something here, was from Austria. He came here with his own wings. He made himself in 1913. He had the 60 kilos wings on his back. I think he didn't have a lot of friends because they let him jump with this weird thing on his back, and he didn't fly at all, of course. He just crashed over there. He was so sure that he could fly that he asked for the people to record the scene. So on YouTube, you can now see a guy falling down from the first floor. The video is weird. The weirdest thing in that video is not that the guy jumps, is that when he jumps, of course, he dies. They take off the body. There's a lot of people around. They take off the body. There's someone that comes with something to measure how far he entered the ground for science. Absolutely crazy. And the people around are like, yeah, it's normal. Yeah. It's a good thing. I have a nicer story if you want. About a guy that jumped from the second floor and he didn't die. How did he do? The very first bungee jumping in the world was made from here, from the second floor of the tower. It was totally illegal. This guy came, he was from New Zealand. His name is AJ Hackett. You know him? Yeah, it was totally illegal. He came, he put his elastic just under the second floor, he jumped. There were policemen waiting for him here at the ground. There's a video also on YouTube of that. It's even funny, more funny than the other guy. Because the guy jumps, the policemen are like that. Then he arrives at the ground. He's very happy because he made the first bungee jumping in the world, of course. But they say to him, oh, very nice, very nice. You see the car here, the doors are open, you can enter it. They close the doors and they go together. It's very funny. But that's what normalized bungee jumping. Because after that, he made a lot of others around the world, in Australia, in New Zealand, in Sweden, a lot of others. How would you know AJ?
Oh no, we're just from New Zealand.
Okay, you're Kiwis, that's right. All right. Yeah, I think it's pretty famous in New Zealand. No? Yeah. What else? We have a story, very nice, of an American woman, Erika Eiffel. She's not from the Eiffel's family. She took the name Eiffel when she married the tower. In 2007, she married the tower. I'm not joking at all. I'm gonna show you a picture because nobody believes me with this story. But it's a true story. She really married the tower in 2007. She goes by the name of Erika La Tour Eiffel. She took the French name, it's more romantic. And she comes every year for the anniversary. And she spends one full day here from 9 a.m. to midnight by making hugs to the metallic pieces.
Oh God.
I'm not joking, guys. I'm gonna see a picture. I'm gonna show you a picture because it's been 1 week and nobody believes me since a week. So I'm gonna show you the picture. She's just too funny. Erika Eiffel. I have pictures where she hugs the tower. Huh? You want a hug? Let's do this. It's too funny. It's too funny. This is the hug. It's even funnier. I've seen it with my eyes. Huh? Erika Eiffel. Nice stories, huh?
Yes.
Do we have any questions before that we take the lift? No? All right.
La personne en fauteuil, elle a du goût aussi? Non, si. Allez. Oui, merci beaucoup, Charlotte. Je vais vraiment
Thank you.
counterweight of the hydraulic system of the lift. It's still working with the water, with the pressure, the water, the power of the water. Since 1899, we have the same system. It's been changed 10 years after the building of the tower. We had lifts at the beginning. In 1899, we already had lifts 3 months after the inauguration of the tower, because it was very important for Eiffel to have lifts at the beginning. And it's been made by the company Otis Elevators. You know Otis Elevators? It's an American company. Eiffel, he asked all the French engineers in 1889 to try to do a system here for the tower. None of them accepted to try.
Can you please keep going to the very back, on the left and on the right? Thank you. Avanti al fondo, adelante, por favor. Don't make a line, just fill the space on the left and on the right.
So he
Don't
asked,
block the stairs, thank you.
he asked all the French engineers to try something. None of them accepted to try because it was very, very difficult. The lifts were difficult to do in the 19th century. In 1889, it was still very difficult. And with the shape of the tower, it was even more, because the shape of the tower is like this and then like that. So they needed a system that allows the lift to change its angle itself. So the only ones to try something were Otis. That's why Otis made this system. It's a very clever one for 1889. It's absolutely crazy what they did here. It's in the World Heritage of UNESCO. It's the most expensive lift in the world, because to renovate, of course, it's been renovated many times. And to renovate last time, it took 4 years, 50 millions of euros, just that. Yeah. And so the system, I can try to explain you a little bit how it works. If you want, there's a screen at the first floor that shows you with a 3D model exactly how it works. I can try to explain it. You have those big counterweights here. They have a piston under. This piston will go in a tube full of water. When it goes in the tube that pushes the water with the pressure will push itself a little car, let's say car, which is on rails, all right? And when it moves on the rails, it has wheels, the wheels turn, and the cables in the wheels are moving. So that's how the cables move, with the trend of the water. Before, it was a manual system. For the counterweights to move, there was a guy that had a crank, and he was sat on the side of the lift until 1987. We had this real human on the side of the lift. This now moves automatically, but it's still the power of the water that operates the cables. But to go down, it's not that much. My record is 3 minutes, 20 seconds.
When
running.
Yeah, nobody is here.
Sorry?
When nobody is here.
You push.
Okay.
We're French, we don't care.
Okay.
And it's possible to climb the stairs. Also, there are some people in the southern pillar who prefer to buy the tickets just to climb the stairs until the second floor. It's possible. For the top, it's a bit different, because from the second to the top floor, there's 1,000 steps. So they open them just for the race that they make every year. In March, they make a race called La Verticale de la Tour Eiffel. All the stairs of the tower, that makes 1,665 steps to climb. And we have a Polish guy that made the world record in 2008. He made 1,665 steps in 7 minutes, 40 seconds. Yeah, pretty fast. That makes, I have calculated, it makes around 5 steps in 1 second from the ground to the top. Absolutely crazy. There's also a video, if you want, on YouTube of the guy arriving at the top. He falls down. Really, huh? It's like he's dead.
There we go. En mooie, die paarse bomen ook meer op. Lijken wel goed. Kijk, dus de scène.
So intricate.
So we stay on the first floor.